Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to Nerd Tube. We are doing Star Trek today. Got two episodes to talk about: Picard season 2, episode 3, and the season finale of Discovery season 4. I'm here with my usual cohort and Trekkie in arms, cousin Cheeto. Top of the evening to you, my friend.
Top of the morning to you, Maddie.
Don't even go there. We spoke backstage, and I think the guy sounds very Indian like me. Not Irish,
In the
but
chat, does my accent sound Indian or does it actually sound Irish? I don't care what Zam says.
fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Anyways, usually when it comes to this particular subject matter, as we are getting double bills at the moment, we tend to talk about Discovery first and Picard second. But as it is the season finale of Discovery, we're going to start off with Picard first. And in this episode, we did initially begin with the tail end, the cliffhanger of the sort of alternative universe, alternative timeline husband with a couple of bodyguards taking on the ship owned by Captain Rios as they try to go back in time to repair the problems that Q has somehow caused for these people who have done nothing to Q, but for some reason Q feels like he needs to be a pain in the ass. Anyway, but before we continue, let's read some of the comments here we have today. Daniel Vance. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Daniel Vance. Evening, fellow Trexters. And we also have a gentleman called the Bearded Manting. I'm excited to get started watching this series. I've put it off for far too long. Haven't we all, my friend? Haven't we all? And Bearded Manting also said, there is a joke I heard a long time ago that I stand by to this day. I like to hear it if you like to, if you don't mind. And Daniel Vance is also saying, I love the direction that Picard is going. No pun intended. I think he means regarding the time jump. And if Zam can invite Xanta, you can surely invite a green Cheeto. Or the Grinch Cheeto, by the way.
You're
Yeah.
a mean one, Grinch
Yeah.
Cheeto.
He sounds like Elvis Cheeto. If you had to choose between Captain Janeway or 7 and 9.
Everything would be 7 of 9. Everything.
Quick question. The answer is always Picard. Okay. I don't know. I'm not. Maybe I'm not nerd enough for that joke. I don't know, but anyway.
No, the answer is 7 of 9. Always.
Yes. Okay. So, as I said earlier, this episode ended with the crew being hijacked by the alternative universe bad guys. The husband, who's wondering what the fuck's going on with his wife. He does suspect certain things, obviously, because 7 and 9 is acting very peculiar as far as he's concerned. And then we find out, obviously, that everyone who's part of the Picard main cast have their original memories, obviously, and they're going to go back and trying to change the timeline that has been created by Q. So they go back to 2024, but prior to doing that, they end up taking out the ex or the husband or ex-husband now, killing him, by the way, vaporizing him, as well as the bodyguards too. Now, I did get this wrong, by the way, regarding Eleanor, because we are in the future. I thought, right, fine, he's been shot in the fucking arm, there's no problem. Medical tricorder, bish bash bosh, he'll be back on his feet in no time. But no, our Brandon Lee lookalike ended up dying in this episode, kind of surprisingly. How did you find that?
I mean, I feel like it's going to be resolved by the time when they fix the timeline. I feel like he's going to be back in the present day.
Well, that's what Raffi wants, but she might not get what she wants.
And that's true. But either that or Q's just going to fix everything at the end. I don't know. So I feel like either time travel shenanigans are going to fix it or Q's going to fix it. One of the two. I don't think he's gone forever. I just don't know if this whole season is taking place in the past or if we're getting a couple episodes in the past and then we're going back to the future and then we got more shenanigans with Q in the future. I don't know how this is running, but we got 10 episodes. So, and we're already 3 in?
3 in already.
Yeah.
So Leah Thompson actually directed this episode. Yeah, I guess it is fitting for a time travel episode. We did get some callbacks to Star Trek episode 4, the movie that is.
The Search for Whales.
What I don't get though is that when they're going into warp drive, yet they're by the sun, surely the moment you hit warp, you're gone. You know what I mean? Like you're in a fucking other part of the universe. You're moving.
But here's the thing, and they are trying to follow what happened in Star Trek 4. Star Trek 4, because in Star Trek 4 they're at warp 9 going around the sun. So they're trying to kind of honor what they did back then. But you're right. Like if they just went to warp in system, like even if it's warp 1, you're like out of the system in like, no time. So
exactly.
So I get that they're trying to honor the original, the original time travel stuff, but at the same time, it's kind of like, maybe if they would have changed it for this, it would have been fine. But I mean, people go around that sun more than Kim Kardashian gets around. So I mean,
more than Kurt gets around. I want someone in my life who loves me as much as Rafi fiercely loves Elnor. And dude. I think the Borg Queen is going. Now, look, I want to get to this actually. I'm so glad you brought this up, Vance, because it's all good if we had over the course of a few seasons this sort of maternal relationship Rafi has with Elnor, because she's pretty much playing his mum in this, and you kind of saw that regarding how she reacted to him. She was acting very maternally, but we've hardly seen these two together, and this is only the second season, third episode. All of a sudden, we're supposed to believe that she is the mum to Elnor, and Elnor's like the son to her. I'm not buying it. I'm really sorry. I'm not buying it at all. I want to believe in it. But I have to see it, and I haven't seen it, unfortunately.
I really feel like that Picard should be more like that, because Picard has a special connection with the Romulans and the Qowat Malat. So it's like,
God, I hate that word.
Yeah. So I mean, it really, it's unfortunate, but it's just like I agree with you 100%. Like when Raffi was like really losing her shit about him, I'm like, I get her being sad, but she's like way more sad than everybody else. Like, and I don't. There's no indication that they even lived were cohabitating together long.
Like last season when 7 and 9 saved what's his face. What was the name of that kid who became a man and he ended up dying on that operation table?
Icheb.
That I bought more.
Yeah.
Than this. Yeah,
I agree.
You could feel the history was there, but there's no history here. So, anyways, but nevertheless, he died, which was a bit of a shocker for me. But if they do restore this and they do repair the timeline, if he does come back, fair enough. But it would be better if he doesn't, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, I don't want that to happen either. But I do like this character. He's a badass. But he's like an innocent badass. I mean, he's very loving. He likes, he's very friendly and nice. But he can fuck you over if he needs to, and I like that. Two sides to his character. We'll see how this pans out. This was a good Rios episode as well, in my opinion, because once they do go back in time, they go through their wardrobes and they end up changing their clothes a little bit, try to adapt to 2024 because that's the period they're in. They crash their ship as well. I'm jumping so far ahead. Like the Borg Queen, who's the flux capacitor of this episode as well. Like, she had some moments in this episode too. For a start, she's not looking green anymore. She's got more of a human skin tone, so to speak, which was a bit unusual. I don't know how that came about. But once I actually laugh when she's like on this unit, but when the ship starts shaking and getting attacked by the other Earth ships, by the Confederation ships, she just falls. And then we see her crawling around and stuff like that. And then she plugs herself in, and that's when they go back in time. But let me just quickly read this here. When La Serena nav controls go offline just after the time jump, sound is the same as the Millennium Falcon when the hyperdrive was broken. I must have missed that because I saw this episode twice. But fair enough. They did crash. Did they crash by Chateau Le Picard? Okay, well, I wonder how long they're going to keep that under wraps for.
Yeah, I mean, because basically Picard said he took the controls when they were crashing, and he's like, "Where are you taking us?" And he said, "Home." So and it looked like Chateau de Picard. So
look, this might not be the future, but this is definitely not the past either. A ship like that crashing, people are going to know about it. You know what I mean?
You know what, Daniel Vance, quit ruining our fun here.
Yeah, God.
Only Daniel Vance. Minnesota.
Only he would pick up on that. But all right, fair enough. So, so let me just get back to what I was saying. So yeah, they crashed it. They decided to crash the ship in France. They for some reason have to go to LA because that's where the Watcher is, and there's this person who's back there who seems to have some clues and answers to their conundrum, so to speak. We did see moments of Q as well in this episode, very briefly, doing his Q sing. But Raffi, she's got a lack of confidence regarding Picard, saying, "Look, I'm not upset. I mean, she's obviously upset for Elnor, but she's also upset with Picard as a leader." And that was deep, man. That was really deep. But I can see where she was coming from. Totally. The Watcher, Guinan or Cisco. Guinan was already on Earth in San Francisco just a couple of hundred. Yeah, but she's gonna have to be slim Whoopi Goldberg. Young Whoopi Goldberg. If she's like fucking Jabba the fucking Goldberg, that's what she looks like right now, then it's going to be a bit weird, a bit like we've seen in previous episodes of TNG where Picard met a young Guinan when she was on Earth. So she had that appearance of being younger. So I wonder how they're going to pull that off. And as much as they might be able to CGI her face to look younger, they can't CGI her fat ass to look slimmer. So it's going to be interesting to see how they pull that off, unless they put it on a different body. We'll see. Like I said, we'll see how they pull that off. Anyways, so they're on the move, and I like when they all did the transport thing. Raffi ends up in one particular place and she stops the mugger and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. Mugs the mugger. I love it. Takes all his money. 7 and 9, the girl sees her transwarp in and she thinks she's a superhero. And obviously she's very clever. She sinks on her feet, 7 and 9, and basically tells her to keep a secret. And then Rios transwarps into in the middle of in midair. It gets fucked over.
Transports? You keep on saying transwarps.
Yeah, I keep saying transport. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Transports in and in midair, but at least he got to meet a really, really hot fucking doctor, out of this as well. So there were some benefits from that. And I have to be honest with you, I kind of like where this episode was going a little bit. Now, a lot of people who are politically aligned in one way will say, "Oh no, this episode's political." Yes, it is fucking political. And considering I'm politically aligned the other way, I'm very happy to see how this episode portrays, unfortunately, America in some of its worst lights when it comes to regarding who they assume to be illegal aliens. Now it's funny because Rios is playing in this, he's an Hispanic person, but he's not. He's not an illegal. He's a time traveler. But he can't prove that, and because he's Hispanic, immediately, without having any ways of proving who he is, and even though he can't prove who he is because he doesn't want to prove that he's a time traveler either, they're going to send his fucking ass back to Mexico or wherever the fuck. And this reminded me of a movie called Born in East LA. Have you seen that?
I think so. Yes, I'd have
with Cheech Marin.
I think so.
From Cheech and Chong.
Yeah.
Where he just plays like a Latino guy, but he's American. And he ends up getting mixed up with some illegals, and because he's around these illegals, when the deportation crew comes along, they just think, okay, yeah, fine, you're a fucking Latino too, we'll throw you in with these guys, even though he was born in East LA, he's born in America. But I kind of had a feeling that all of this was gonna happen to Rios, and it's funny how this is gonna pan out. The fact that he lost his badge, could have got his badge back, didn't get his badge back as well, but he can't help himself, man. He's flirting with a really fucking hot doctor, so you can't blame him either. You know what I mean? But yeah, this was an interesting episode. It kind of shows you where America could be. Where America already is at this to a degree, and where it could be in a couple of years. I do feel your country's, sometimes it's just to get a little bit political. It is sometimes being the worst it can be at times when it comes to other human beings, who, when you call yourself the land of the free, the home of the brave, and all of that sort of stuff, it's only going to attract people to come there, isn't it? So yeah, we're the greatest country in the world, but yeah, please fuck off. Don't come here. We're the land of the free, but please fuck off. Don't come here. It's just weird, isn't it? Yeah, we're a great country, but no, we don't want anyone coming here. Move backward, go forward, Shatner. Shatter to mend. The past is now the ball queen. Yes, I do recall her saying that as well. But
and I do like the fact that we did have the shelter districts. I can't remember if that's exactly what they're called but they're right. They're in 2024, and the shelter districts were a thing. They obviously don't look the same as they did in DS9 episodes, past tense, but there's definitely hints there because you see them all like in the tents and stuff like that. So this is probably like a more modernized version of those shelter districts. Although I don't know if I saw very many. I don't think I saw very many walls. So I don't know. As I said, I think it's a little bit more. But I mean, you got that vibe when they came in, and there was, when they transported over, and they were in like this tented area, which is probably just a homeless area of people. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I mean, we are not too far off from, I mean, where a lot of this stuff is supposed to go down. So I'm okay with them doing kind of like a merger where they kind of meet halfway. Like it's not the actual Bell Riot look from DS9, but at the same time, they're still trying to show, hey, this is kind of still happening, but maybe in a little bit of a more contemporary way. So I'm okay with that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the whole not Raffi, the whole Rios thing was okay, but it just kind of figures are like, okay, we can't go to hospitals, we can't have interactions with law enforcement. So what does Rios do? He gets a concussion while transporting when everybody else just landed on the ground just fine. And then he's in I'm like, oh God. I'm like, oh, please. Like that was kind of like my, okay, really? Like we're really doing this all coincidental thing. And don't get me wrong, I loved all the scenes with Hot Doctor and Rios. Like I thought they were great scenes. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I'm just like, what? Like, why did he transport so high versus everybody else? Was he a different like sea level?
I thought it was funny, man. I just thought it was funny. Maybe there was some land.
I don't know.
Maybe in the future there was some land there, so like the algorithm fucked up or something along those lines.
Maybe. But, as I said, it didn't ruin the episode for me. I'm just saying, like, it was kind of like.
Well, I think what they kind of made you understand is that when Blondie said, "Look, we can't be having you being found out by today's, this time's technology. We'll know that you're not from around here, so no hospitals and stuff like that." So when he ended up in hospital, I knew, oh shit's gonna hit the fan. Now I had no idea about the ICE agents coming in, but once again, it was very easy to put two and two together. Once they did come in, his badge is left at that place as well, so it's gonna be interesting. I do feel he's asking to be deported to Mexico, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's going to be funny. It's funny and ironic at the same time. I think they're using an unused voyage home storyline, and Doctor and Child Rios is interacting with his distant relation, the Picasso in her office, and the shuttle, the kid is playing at hints. I think he meant to say. Tulu was supposed to meet his relations in Voyage Home.
I'm glad that maybe that is his distant relative. So he better keep it in his pants, otherwise, he might kind of merge the tree a little bit, bend backwards.
It's funny though because like all of these Star Trek officers are basically quantum scientists. Like quantum physicists. So like he's a very fucking intelligent person, and he should be able to maybe exude that intelligence in a way that will hopefully, I don't know. I'm thinking in a stupid way here actually. So let me, but I'm not being intelligent at all with these comments. So let me just get away from that.
Well, I want to go. Another nice thing about the whole doctor's office thing was that when he was getting the shots, like he was like really like ow, like because they've never experienced shots before. Like they always have hypo sprays, so it's kind of like. I guess that would be a thing. I never really thought of that. Like, if a person came back in time and they had to get a shot, it would be, they would be kind of put off by the needles because they don't need them in the future. They use hypo sprays. So I thought that was a very interesting little like tidbit knob that I never really thought of before.
Yeah, for sure. And so somebody who's been vaccinated and double vaccinated and boosted, I still fucking hate needles. But you got to do what you got to do. And I like the way he was bargaining with cookies. That's a good way to get to a kid when it comes to getting your comm badge back. But he still never fucking got it back.
I know,
the moment
right?
The doctor, the doctor had it, and I had like, no, just give me that fucking thing. I mean, it's not yours, it's mine anyway. Just give it to me. But all right, fair enough. And there's somebody obviously who comes from a country where we don't charge people we don't charge people for healthcare. It was just pretty cute seeing how they have some sort of healthcare office where they don't charge people. It must be run as a charity or something along those particular lines.
Yeah.
I hope one day.
They have those a lot in the Southwest, just because of immigrants and stuff like that. Like that, they don't like she said, no cops, no records, no, just. So
yeah, I hope one day, I hope you guys have public healthcare like the rest of the modern world. We can only hope. But all right, fair enough.
No, our politicians tell us that that's bad. It's all bad.
Yeah,
we'll raise our taxes a little bit.
Everything you have to make a buck out of everything, or it's socialism or communism. Anyways,
I know.
Going on to Raffi and 7 and 9, they're trying to find this watcher, so they go to the highest point, and we see some fires going on. It really is like the modern times, like with California, seeing like forest fires and stuff like that, and people just going around there every fucking day business. I like the way that they blag their way in by basically bullshitting the guard on the spot. I
love Seven's reaction to it. She's like, people don't normally like me. Like when they first meet me, I'm like, but I do want to bring up a comment here that Daniel Vance just put down here about Seven's neural inhibitor. So this is my question, though, and this kind of goes into what we're getting into is, without a neural inhibitor, Seven is free to experience emotions past the level that would have previously killed her. I think she realized it herself when looking in the mirror. But here's the thing. So has she lost all of her Borg abilities? Because I feel like she's still using them. So does she still have those abilities?
It's become part of her personality, whether she has them in or not,
Yeah, but she still processes things a lot faster than a normal human being can. So that's why I'm like, did Q just timey-wimey where she has all of those abilities still, but looks normal? Or, I don't know. I haven't heard her say anything. As far as I remember, I haven't heard her say anything about like losing any of her cognitive enhancements.
I do feel there's going to be some sort of conflict during the course of this season regarding maybe Elnor coming back and her not wanting to become Borg again, or partly Borg, because I think she was very happy to see all of those bits and bobs no longer in her when she was getting dressed to go to the outside world. She looked at herself in the mirror, and I think she liked the fact that she hasn't got any of those bits and bobs in her. That was the sort of vibe I was getting. And so obviously if those enhancements have to come back, if they resolve the timeline, I don't think she'll be very appreciative of it. This is the most human she's been in a long time. And personally, I'm fine with that, by the way. 7 and 9 doesn't need that anymore. I wouldn't mind. Like we always know that Jerry Ryan is 7 and 9. Former Borg. I think we can move on without her having all that shit in her face and her hands. So yeah, if she had her Borg abilities, they wouldn't have needed the Queen for all the calculations. I was thinking that too, by the way. Yeah, she ain't no Spock, but she would have been like Spock if she had all her bits and bobs in her.
I just find it funny they haven't mentioned that.
And Picard has got Picard's Borg as well. Don't forget that. So. He's still got shit inside him.
He's got some in there.
Yeah. So, and anyways, yeah, it's that's fiction for you. Like it can go all over the fucking place. So, but yeah, they get a lock on to the signal where the dude is, and I'm sure this watcher, with male or female, whoever it may be, somebody we know, somebody we don't know, it's gonna be interesting to see how that pans out. they'll definitely come into the equation either at the end of episode 4 as a cliffhanger or however. So, but the interesting part of this episode for me was I'm not gonna call her Blondie. I'm gonna remind myself of her name. Agnes.
Yeah, Girardi or Girardi, something like that.
Agnes Girardi. Yeah, I'm gonna call her Agnes. Agnes needs to get some information from the Borg Queen, and the Borg Queen is kind of dead at the moment because she's used all her power and ability to send Rios' ship back in time. But they are needing some information out of her, and so Agnes decides to go into the collective, so to speak. It's only it's only a one-person collective at the moment because I think the Borg Queen is the last of the Borg in this particular timeline.
Well, no, okay. So the kind of First Contact explains this. So they had to do is the Borg collective of this century was around, but it wasn't as advanced as it was in the 23rd century, 24th century. So that's why
they've gone back in time, so there'll be more Borg. Yeah, I agree with that.
So there are still Borg, but they're different, and I think they were using like the deflector dish of the Enterprise and that in First Contact to boost their collective signal so that they could reach the Borg of that era. And although they just needed, the Borg had not expanded out that far, their technology wasn't as advanced, obviously. So that's why she's kind of like, there are Borg in that era, but I mean, they're on Earth and they're all the way in the Delta Quadrant, probably nowhere near where she can even reach them by her means. So she would have to, and I'm sure by the end of this season, they'll probably have a moment where she tries to reach out to the Borg of this time and tries to like have them come and assimilate Earth or some nonsense like that. So
yeah, she's definitely going to be an antagonist.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's going to be like the Dr. Smith of that crew.
Yeah. She's on the ship, but she's not a good guy.
Yeah, exactly. But Agnes was able to manipulate her and extract the information they needed. And I really like this. You know what I really liked about this scene was that so often we get a scenario where we would see like this. We would see what Agnes is seeing, but we're not seeing what Agnes is seeing. We're seeing what Picard's seeing. There's no sort of like sequence where we see through Agnes's mind that she's maybe walking through corridors and bumping into the Borg Queen or whatever. That bullshit's been done a billion times in Star Trek in various ways. All we're seeing is Picard talking to her and her reacting, for her subconscious mind. I fucking loved it. It was actually quite original for Star Trek. I very much liked it.
And I like how halfway through it, they maybe most of the way through it, they switched. Like, Agnes was in the Borg Queen, and then the Borg Queen was in Agnes. Like they were like kind of ships passing in the night cognitively.
Yeah, I like that. He was like telling Agnes, "Are you there?" You go, "Yes," and then the Borg Queen goes, "Yes, I am." Yeah, I very much like that. Picard called Girardi's daughter after she wakes up. A kindness given her vocalized wish while being assimilated, and Locutus. That almost looks like Locus, and as Locutus, he is kind of her father now that she touched for hive mind. Yeah, I see it. I know what you're getting at. But nevertheless, I thought that was a really great scene. It was. I liked the fact that it wasn't done the standard Star Trek way. It was done in a way, we see it from Picard's perspective, and I very much appreciated that. And she outsmarted the Queen, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, I love that line that she said. She said, "You've done something far more dangerous." She's like, "You've impressed me." I'm like, holy shit. That's like, God damn, I love this Borg Queen.
It'll be interesting to see where she goes. Will she get her legs? I mean, she can use the ship to create herself some legs, I guess. I mean, she's already assimilating the ship to a degree. She took control of the ship. So we'll see that. But this was an okay episode of Picard. Shock horror with Eleanor dying. I did not see that happening. Honest to God, that was kind of a surprise, and I like the character very much.
With him yet, though, I would most certainly don't think we're done with him.
The Watcher. Any bets on who that person could be?
I honestly don't know. I mean, Guinan. I mean, I know it's the cop out answer, but my first thought is Guinan, and I know you're like, yeah, they got a de-age or de-fat or whatever, but like, I think they're gonna try for Guinan. I think that's why she was on Earth at that period of time. It never, Guinan never said that she only met Picard in in Time's Arrow episodes. She's just said she had met him like before, like she had known him from before. So who's to say she didn't meet him again in 2024? Like as old Picard. So
I'm really trying to think of somebody else it could be, but I just can't.
I don't. I feel like the way that they're going is that it's going to be Guinan. Like it just makes sense, and I know that it's predictable, but it also, it also makes sense. I feel. I mean, they wouldn't just put her in for. I feel like they wouldn't just put her in for a 1-episode cameo in the beginning. Like, I don't think she's going to be throughout the whole season, but I don't think they're just that one bar scene and maybe a bar scene at the end when they're back in the future and everything's fixed. I don't feel like that's it. I don't feel like that's going to be the end of it with Guinan.
All right, I've got a left field one. The woman who's the Borg Queen, her unassimilated self back on Earth.
I mean, possible. It is a little left field, but I see where you're coming from.
I don't want it to be Q because that'll be bollocks.
Well, yeah, because Q's everywhere anyway. Like that's not even an easy answer. That's a stupid answer.
A Nexus version of Kirk.
Okay, now we're getting into generations. Come on, guys.
All right. Okay, fair enough. But yeah, she's
one person we haven't seen that we don't know is
the point.
Soji. Like, is she not in this season? Like,
Soji, remind me Soji again. Oh yeah, we saw her in episode 1.
Bot Babe.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It could be her.
I mean, I don't need to see her either. I'm just saying, like, I feel like we just saw her for a little bit in the beginning, and now she's gone, and I'm like, I don't.
They have no idea how to use her. Yeah,
I know, and well, that's fine. At least they wrote the character off in a decent way. She was doing her droid galaxy tour or whatever with other droids or androids or whatever. Soon bots.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I mean, I kind of have been enjoying this season so far. I thought last week's episode was very good. This episode, not the most engaging. I think that it felt like a setup for what's eventually going to happen, which is fair enough because you do need setup, which is fair enough. It's how things are. But yeah, I'm kind of just waiting for shit to go down now. I want to know who this Watcher is. I want to see what happens in this particular time in order to make everyone a fascist bastard. I mean, you've got ice there for a start, so you can see the seeds of it already being sown. So yeah, maybe they come across aliens in that particular time. Who knows? They can't have because obviously there's Ethan Cochrane, but Adam Song is still a contender.
But I don't think he would be
Sung. Yeah.
I don't think he would be the Watcher though. I think that he will be there and he'll be a part of it because we know he is. But at the same time, I don't think that he's going to be like the Watcher or anything like that.
Well, we do know Brent Spiner's in this.
Yeah, and I've seen trailers where he's shown up, but I mean, as I said, I don't think he would be, the Watcher just because he's not a guy out of time or anything. I think Guinan is kind of the catch-all for that because she's the person out of time or whatever. Fair
enough. But yeah, with Rios being taken away, that kind of ended how the episode is. Cliffhanger on what's going to happen to Rios. I do feel that he will get back to the gang. They have too much technology not to get him back, but they do have to repair that ship as well. We'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, this was an okay episode. It's between a 6 and a 7 for me. Maybe 7 out of 10, generously.
I'd put it.
I hated it. Really?
I really enjoyed it. I feel like I enjoyed it more than last episode. What did I give last week's episode?
I thoroughly enjoyed last episode, but I'd rather they just said they were in the Terran universe than fucking go down with this time travel shenanigan bollocks.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, everything can't. I understand like why they're doing this because
everything about it was Terran, like the fact that we have a fascist,
but I think they were just trying to
federation.
Do different just because it's like everything can't be the Terran universe. We've come to a place in sci-fi where we know that there's multiple universes of like every different kind of universe.
We've only found out recently, and not everything is the Terran universe. It's not like we get the Terran universe on a regular basis. I just feel like it was a good opportunity for maybe Picard to dip into it for one episode. But all right, whatever. Daniel Vance gives it an 8 out of 10. Love the direction they're taking. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that was Picard.
I'm just glad we haven't seen like
Assimilation.
Huh?
It was called Assimilation, that episode.
Yeah. I'm just glad they haven't gone down the route like the 80s and 90s Star Trek where it's like the two-parter of Voyager when they're back in the 90s and they're like totally tubular, man. And they got like the Hawaiian shirt on and like they're like really leaning into the 90s, even though it's supposed to be the current year. So I'm really glad they didn't. Huh?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like I'm just glad they haven't leaned into that. Like, you have some guys coming up with like the punk rock hair and like, I don't know what that would look like today. Man buns, like, and
hipster beards.
And hipster beards. Like what would that look like? Like I feel like, I don't know, Sarah Silverman episode. Yes, you are right. That was a Sarah Silverman episode. I thought her acting was so bad in that, but I don't blame her really for that. I blame the director. I don't think they gave her much direction. I think Sarah Silverman even came out and said it was like a really bad experience being on set with that.
Fair enough. Well, we're on to the next show now, and it's time to talk about the season finale of Discovery, episode 13, Going Home, I believe it's called. And
I'm going
coming home. But yeah, this was the episode where they wrap everything up. And before we start breaking down this episode, there are a lot of elements of this episode where I think to myself, I love this sort of shit, but not this time around, unfortunately. I don't know what it is about this episode. It's very hard to pinpoint. But
I'm going to starkly disagree with you, but please continue.
Like, a lot of the stuff that happened in this episode is the sort of things I do like about Star Trek, but it just wasn't resonating with me for some reason. But we'll talk about this episode. So it ends with, obviously, Species 10C thinking that the humans are trying to fuck them over. Obviously, it's Tarka fucking them over, and we have now now have Reno and Book being obviously taken hostage by Tarka. I'm trying to remember the beginning of this episode. Yes, we see the space station of Starfleet flying to Earth in its weird, twisted glory. Doing an evacuation process.
I think that's amazing. Like, I never thought it was a ship. Like, I never really realized
it has to be able to fly, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's like traveling through warp. It's like I just never thought of it.
Fair enough, and we get to see Tilly come back. Nobody must have been more happier than you to see Tilly come back.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I don't mind.
No, I'm taking the piss.
Oh, I don't mind Tilly, I guess. But...
No, but it's good to see her come back and have a major role to play in this particular episode. And you can see that she's a very confident young woman now. She's still a bit dorky here and there and stuff, but when she's having to do her work around other cadets and other officers who are her not an inferior, but she's their superior. She has her game face on and she knows how to be show authority.
Yep.
And it was good to see her back. But yeah, they're basically the Starfleet is evacuating people from Earth because the DMA is heading that way. Tucker is trying to do his shenanigans. It gets all very sci-fi jargony regarding what they're going to do and what they're going to destroy and all of that sort of stuff. The Earth ambassador gives herself up, which was a nice move actually, because they kind of Discovery realizes that there is a mole, so to speak, on board. But then when the Earth ambassador gives herself up, they instantly know who it is, which was also a pretty cool move.
I'm glad they didn't draw that out. I didn't want them to do this he shit or the mystery part of it.
Yeah, Vance's ship did look well. Would you call that Vance's ship? I mean, it's hard to say if that's it. Yeah, it's Starfleet headquarters. Yeah, but all right. But yeah, we have what else did we have in this episode? It's hard to fucking remember everything now, even though I watched it bloody twice. It's all a bit disjointed.
I mean, they were evacuating Earth and the moon and Titan.
Yeah.
I mean, I really thought that would I liked a lot of the imagery in this episode. I thought that a lot of it actually gave me. I really thought they were going to pull the trigger on blowing Earth up. I really did. I thought they were going to do it, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
I was less convinced, to tell you the truth. I was less convinced about them doing any of that shenanigans. It was interesting though that when they realized that Book ship needs to be thrown off course, and they need to send like a sort of kamikaze suicide pilot to do it because it's the only way they could do it. And obviously, everyone looked at Detmer as the person to do it. But then the Earth ambassador ended up taking that role. And I thought, yeah, her goose is cooked. But no, even though she succeeded in what she was supposed to do, she ended up surviving, which was interesting.
I mean, I felt like too many people survived, like for what they were doing. I mean, I don't know. I was kind of the Earth ambassador or the Earth defense general or whatever she was. I felt like that they really. I mean, I really felt like she should have bit the big one. I kind of felt like Book and Tarka should have bit the big one. Like I felt like that.
I'm glad Book didn't. I'm glad Book didn't. You know, like having to lose a loved one is so cliched. I'm so fed up with that. I don't want that, you know, honestly. I'm glad Book did
the situation.
Renault dying would have been better. Like, you know, for instance, that when Book gave her his Starfleet comm badge to Jet should have like given it back to him and then told Book to go back to your loved one or whatever, and she could have been the hero of that episode. But in a way,
and you know what? I agree with you on that. I think that would have, because I thought that was going to happen. They were going to pull a Nemesis where, like, you know, Data shows up and puts the thing on Picard, and then it transports
an Armageddon.
Huh?
You need to take care of my daughter now. You know what I mean? And Bruce Willis throws Ben Affleck into the shuttle. You know, so yeah.
But yeah, I kind of thought that would have been a really good way to make Jet like the hero of the universe. And they could have like honored the, you know, because I mean, you could tell in this episode she was struggling like to walk around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you realize somebody is going through something like cancer whilst they're filming an episode or a series of Star Trek, you can't help but try to pick at the bones. Mm-hmm. You know, no pun intended. In her performance,
and as I said, I don't blame her. I'm not saying it's garbage. I'm just saying like it would have been a great way to write the character off.
I look at it like this. Like for her not to be signed off means that maybe there's a better chance of her recovering. You know, and if that's the case, then I would love to see Jet Reno in more episodes in the future.
Yeah, they could have Mirror Universe Jet Reno.
I can't help but wonder, and they brought that up, by the way, in this episode. I can't help but wonder if Reno remarked about the sandwich cut diagonally with very two pickles and so wasn't Tig's personal love letter to her twins. I'm sorry, I missed that. She's got twins. Tig Notara's got twins. I had no idea she had twins. But anyways,
well, I think maybe wasn't Tig's personal love letter to her twins.
Tig being the actress.
Yeah, I wonder if that is. Oh, okay. Tiggs has twins.
Has twins.
Okay.
Okay. Fair enough. Well,
I mean, I like it when they do stuff like that.
I did like the fact that Taka was saying, look, you come into this universe, you'll have all your loved ones back. But even though they're them, they're not them. They're not the them of this universe. And I like that. Parallel universe versions of people you love are not the same people as much as you would love them to be. They're not. And I'm very happy that Book wasn't tempted by that offer, because that would have been fucking ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, we get to the part where obviously the Earth ambassador kamikazes the ship. She does get warped. She does get saved. Somehow the problem hasn't been resolved. Book does get through to Taka, but Taka himself realizes that there's no way to stop what's going on unless they destroy the ship.
I have issue with that too. Like Tarka all of a sudden just a couple lines of dialogue and.
But Bobby, I knew this was going to happen. We were speaking about this, how Tarka was going to die, yeah, and Tarka was probably going to die doing the right thing, eventually after seeing the light, so to speak. He was going to have to die on his sword, so to speak, and that's what he did. And regarding Book, I knew, okay, Book's going to come back any moment now. You know what I mean? I knew once the Book he was being transported, and then the transport failed. I knew later on that he would come back.
That was my first thought too. I was like, yeah, they're gonna the
aliens
probably
saved them
or something.
No, in this particular moment, the aliens 10C have kind of realized that there's more than one of these species. I thought they realized there's more than one when they had that little crew of people in the orb in the previous episode. But all right. They assume that they realize there's more than one, and everyone has their own idea of what everyone's doing their own particular thing. So they're willing to do renegotiations again. And it was good to see. Well, it was good for our crew that these particular aliens are compassionate. And it's going to be interesting to see how we will see them in the future as well. What was the name of that alien that the Borg tried to get in Voyager? Species 5172.
Species 8472.
8472. I wonder if they're going to do
a bunch of random numbers.
Yeah. Hello, William.
Yes, we did know that the Picard
is
Leah Thompson.
Yes.
We already mentioned it a little bit earlier, but if you're just joining us, thanks for joining.
Daniel Vance kind of gave us that information. What's he saying regarding 10? We don't know. Tarka died. His transport might have worked, and 10C might have captured the energy with and saved it. Yeah, there's a possibility, by the way. We could see him next season. 10C might on after learning his intentions. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you know what? I give you that. I wouldn't be surprised if they throw us a bone. But 8472 was the species from Voyager. Yeah.
Yeah.
But eventually, we saw them in human form in later seasons of Voyager.
Yeah, they brought that on Starfleet Academy.
I wonder if they're going to do something similar with this alien species. Like they're going to, if we in seasons 5, for instance, when we are learning more about them, they're somehow able to make themselves into human form. And if they did that, I'll be really fucking pissed, because that would be fucking such a cop out. I hate shit like that. You know what I mean? Not only they'll put them in human form, they'll have them in a ranch in Arkansas or something like that, just to make them feel like they're at home. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake, you bastards!
Well, and here's my other thing that I really I had a bone to pick with with this episode was they Phantom menaced it. Like everything just wrapped up so nice and clean. Okay, so for example, like the 10C, I get that they stopped it and they moved the device. Like they moved it, they're like, okay, we will move this device somewhere else. Then they're just like, and then with a brief pep talk from Book, they're like, "Whoa, well, we should just shut down the whole barrier that we've had up for thousands of years or hundreds of years or however long it's been up, and we're just going to change our ways now." And I'm kind of like, I feel like maybe through negotiations you might be able to do that, but like Book just saying some like lines of heartfelt dialogue that doesn't fly with me. Like you have this like superiorly evolved race, and yes, they're communicating. That's all Trek. I love it all. But like the picture perfect outcome, I was actually a little excited when they said it's going to take us decades to get home. Now, I would not have honestly mind. I know I'm going to be a hypocrite because I'm not a Voyager fan, but I wouldn't have minded if they spent next season trying to get home, like, or trying to fix the spore drive, like getting back and having to do this, that, and the other. It was an interesting concept. I was with them on that. But then they're like at the end, they're like, oh, well, they're using the wormhole one more time. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
The cop out after cop out after cop out. And, with 10C, it's like, I don't know. It's all huggy and wrapping up very well. Like, I don't want it to be like season 1 Discovery where everything's dark and dreary and dreadful, like also like season 2. But at the same time, I don't want it to be a lovey-dovey. They're like the pendulum is swinging way the opposite way. Everybody's hugging, everybody's in DS9 and Next Gen. Like, and even in Voyager, how many times do we see people hug each other? You know what I mean? Like, and like,
they're hugging like crazy in this episode. I just want to answer this question from William Wells. What do you think about the Enterprise warship painting? Is that from Picard?
Yeah, I'm.
Well, it's hard to say because it looks like I've as somebody who's got art of stuff like this, and I've got some other art as well.
He's cultured.
I've actually, yeah, well, I'm British. It comes with the territory. I've actually seen a lot of Star Trek art, and it kind of reminded me of some of the Star Trek art I've already seen, which kind of looks like them in a battle. You might, as you would say, warship, but it just looks like them being in a battle with the Borg. And so I've kind of seen that already. So I was like neither here or there with it personally. I don't know about yourself, Bobby.
I thought it was okay. I'd have to see, like, I'm more of like, I have to see like a 3D rendering of it, or at least a clear picture, because that painting was pretty abstract. So from what I was seeing, it looked kind of cool, but like I need to see a clearer picture of it. I need a 3D rendering. I need to see it in action. That's what would really make me be like, oh shit, yeah. So
well, then we finished watching it as well. We just spoke about it a little bit earlier, but yeah, we're hedging our bets on who the Watcher could be. Whoopi Goldberg's Guinan seems to be the obvious choice. There are a couple of other choices as well. There could be
I think it's going to be Wesley.
The woman who was the Borg Queen before she became assimilated is a possibility as well. I can't really think of anybody else. It could be Q, but that would be stupid, in my opinion.
Wesley Crusher, the Traveler, dropped him off in 2024.
It could be one of the group. It could be like 7 or 9 in like 20 years from now, and she's gone back to Earth in the past to be the Watcher.
Maybe it's Soji. I mean, she is an android.
Yeah.
She lived for a very long. It could be like a Data situation in Time's Arrow.
It could be. Anyway, the world Razor. She's beautiful for what she is, but frightening from a non-human perspective. The World Razor. I'm sorry, have I missed something there?
I don't know what that is. Hold on.
Are we talking about, when he says all that, are we talking about like somebody with a dangerous vag? Like, anyway, I hate to see a ship built with such regard. Okay. Okay. Anyways,
I don't know. Look, CSS World Raiser.
Oh, that's the evil Enterprises. Oh, okay. Of course, it's not going to be called the Enterprise. I get ya.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, wait a minute.
Yeah, he picks up on everything Daniel Vance does, doesn't he? So yeah, like, it leaves me all like scratching my
Freaking
head and,
legend is
and
what he is.
rubbing my bit. Yeah,
He should be hosting this thing, and we should just be like,
right, we're not worthy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just love having him in the chat, man. He has all the good info.
Okay, so they're able to get through to the 10C, and then the 10C realizes that Burnham's unhappy, and so they bring Book back. You know, he comes in like fucking Jesus Christ. You know, with all yeah, I mean, like fucking Madonna's like a prayer video, and
Lord help us.
And like he comes in, Michael Burnham's all fucking happy. He's wondering what the fuck's going on, but he does tell the 10C, as you said earlier, that look, you can't keep doing your shit. You can't keep mining. And the fact is that 10C is such an advanced species not to know that other species existed, that they were just destroying planets and stuff. It's kind of weird, but nevertheless, even if they mine in uninhabited space, because they lose like some sort of toxic waste. They can't do that either. And I think they're doing it to keep themselves sheltered from the rest of the universe. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, they're cut off from, since they're out beyond the galaxy and they're behind that barrier, like their 3 planets are behind that barrier. Like it's pretty much out of, they're pretty much cut off from the rest of the universe. But that's why they use a wormhole to send the DME or the DMA through.
Okay, yeah. The Brent Spinner, yeah, we mentioned that about Brent Spinner as Adam Sung. We'll see how. They're really stretching the Sung shit out, to tell you the truth.
I don't mind them like using like a Soon ancestor, like that's from 2024, like to make the change in time. That's fine, but like if it's like the same Soon we saw in modern times, then or not modern, in Picard time, I don't know. It is. It's and it would be something Q would probably do because he's a dickhead. But still, I don't know. That would be a little bit too much. I would rather it either be somebody completely new, or like somebody that makes sense, like Guinan or.
Were you happy with the Sung we got in season 1 of Picard? Because look, Sung had a son.
Yeah, no, I thought that was kind of out of nowhere. I really did.
Yeah, it really was. It really was, because
I hope it's lore.
I thought the whole point of him having robotic kids is that he never had kids of his own.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, but fine. Yeah, he could be the Watcher. We'll see how that pans out. It could be Data. I doubt it though. He's dead. He's actually dead.
Yeah, like they made a big deal out of technically killing him last season.
Yeah.
If they bring him back for this one, that'd just be a spit in the face of that of all of season 1, which
they love spitting in the face
about, but
they love Hollywood loves spitting in the face of closure.
Yeah,
so like Luke Skywalker was supposed to take fucking Grogu, but you know what? Fuck that. We'll just get him back with Mando, because really, Mando and Grogu is the Mandalorian show nowadays. So that's how it is, and when it comes to taking these course, these like changes in direction, they just don't want to go through with it and realize we're better off what we were doing before. I think the Brits going to. I hope so. I'll be honest with you, I do hope so. It's B4 is right in the same. Yeah. B4. I mean, I wouldn't mind it being Law. I was pissed off that Law
B4 is the dumbass
original
copy of Data that
they
found
I remember.
in Nemesis.
Yeah, that was from Nemesis. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind it being lore. Maybe, I don't know. I think that the whole Data thing, even when it comes to his siblings, is kind of drawn out to me. Season 1, fine, they did it. It's over. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm trying to think of what other like ancillary characters it could be, like characters that were like lost in time or you thought were dead. Tasha Yar. It could be Tasha Yar.
What about Roddy McDowall's character from
Who?
Roddy McDowall, the guy who played Sorin from Generations?
He was pretty dead. I mean, I
Yeah,
think.
but so's Kirk. But they're still in the Nexus. You know what I mean? Like
They're not in the Nexus. Kirk is dead. Soren, I think,
well,
died too.
apparently in the books he's not. You know, but
Well, that's I'm sorry. Like books are not. I know I'm going to piss people off, but the books are not canon to me. Until they reference them in the main media, which is like TV shows and movies. I'm sorry, it's not to me. And other people, if it's in canon, it doesn't conflict. More power to you. You have a broader spectrum of Star Trek. Star Trek Online, the movies and the TV shows is kind of what I go off of. I mean, and I know that the Star Trek Online is still technically beta canon, and I consider books and stuff like that also beta canon. So it's whatever head canon you want to make up.
Walking away to beam elsewhere with your comms bag looks so stupid. Why are you turning and walking to if you're gonna beam where you want to be? Who's he talking about? Is he talking about Rios?
Walking away to beam elsewhere with your comm badge is so stupid. Why are you turning and walking to?
Look so stupid.
I don't understand. I don't know. All right. Well,
by the way, the way this episode ended, after everything was hunky dory and the species 10 seed and decides, okay, we're not going to hide ourselves anymore. We're going to be part of this collective and stuff like that. I'm really sorry. Juicy. Stop making so much noise.
Juicy. My dog is kind of, I don't know where he ran off to.
Juicy, come here. There you go, Juicy. You naughty girl. You're so naughty. I'm trying to do a stream here.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, Riker don't care. Riker's like, yeah, you're doing that stupid shit.
Okay. Yeah, he's got daddy talking to himself again. The Disco crew does it all the time in sync with one another. They turn, walk away from one another after. Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh
yeah.
Actually, I do have one more bone to pick with this episode, but you go ahead, Zam. You were going to say something about the transporting.
No, I was going to say something. No, I was basically say how things wrapped up at the end.
I think it's just human impulse. You just turn and walk away from something. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just human impulse to turn and walk away from something.
I don't mind it. I don't really mind it too much. It's no biggie, you know. But I understand where you're coming from, but I don't have an OCD with it like some people do, Daniel. But yeah, but nevertheless, I did like how this episode wrapped up, and you know what? It's going to be interesting to see what we have in season 5, because we're going to have another like universe disaster type thingy going on here. I would like to see personally an episode dedicated to certain crew members for when they're on leave. So episode 1 will be about Detmer and Owu, you know, maybe climbing a mountain.
I wouldn't mind shorts. Like short treks that they do. I wouldn't mind that based on every character like that's on Earth doing something like 10-15 minutes. You know, I wouldn't mind if they brought short treks back and did that, but here's one thing that really like it didn't really, but it kind of bugged me a little bit at the end. Why is all of your command staff going down to the planet that they're not 100% sure is 100% safe? You've got 2 captains, your president, your translator, all your bridge crew. Who's running the bridge? The lower decks? Like what's going on? I
agree.
Like that.
I agree.
That part really irked me because I'm like, it's not managerial, like functional things like that, like that grind my gears. I'm like, you can't have your whole command. That's like the whole management team being off for a day. You just can't have it. Like, all of them are down there. If they all die, okay, so then you got the lower decks running the ship. And I mean, I guess Stamets and Culber and who else was up there? Stamets, Culber.
Stamets, Culber, and Adira were the only ones to stay behind.
Yeah.
Everyone else, I think maybe Jet as well. Everyone else was on that planet. Pretty much all the major crew members on that planet, and
the entire bridge crew. If they were to wipe if Tennessee were to wipe them off the face of their planet, they'd be in deep shit because there goes everybody.
Exactly. So I was thinking to myself, what the hell? Like, I was thinking the same thing too. Like, they can't all be there. I don't know whose idea that was. Oh, sorry, it was Burnham's, wasn't it? So
we should all. No, it wasn't. It the president? I don't remember.
No, it was Burnham's idea.
It might have been the president and Burnham talking. I think we should all be here. I'm like, what? I'm like, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
Like, I get Burnham needing to be there because she's the captain and it's first contact. I get why Saru needs to be there because he's kind of the point person with communication. I mean, I kind of get why Lieutenant Christopher would have to be there because isn't he the communications officer maybe? But like Owu and Detma and Reese, like, why are they all down there? Like that, it's...
Well, Daniel liked the faster pace of the episode, but the funny thing is that this felt like one episode stretched out into a season. Like, oh, okay, we're coming across a species that is doing a lot of damage. We need to make contact with this species to tell them to stop doing all this damage, that you're fucking people over. And that, in my opinion, has been done in Star Trek as a single episode. And this time around, they've stretched that entire thing into a season. I don't mind to a degree. It's clever writing and stuff like that. There were filler episodes as well, without a doubt.
Honestly,
the episode with the casino episode, the casino episode was a filler. You know what I mean? For instance,
I didn't mind that episode. I don't think I'd have to go back.
I might as somebody who knows how to gamble, and play poker professionally for several years. I was seriously fucking getting pissed off with that episode. It was pissing me off. It's like when I watch movies and they have gambling scenes in it. I think to myself, nobody gambles like that. You know what I mean? Nobody says, I'll raise you 50 and I'll re-raise you another 500. No one does that. No one does that. You know what I mean? Fucking Hollywood. They blew book in my book though. We had better
book in my book.
we had better plots than they wrote for him. Yeah, well,
I didn't mind the way they used book this season. Towards the end there, it was a bit like, no shit, Sherlock. Like, what did you think Tarka was going to do? Like, and with Tarka, it's like, his last second, redemption. Oh, I can do it. Oh, but I can't do it now. It's too late. I wouldn't be able to break the encryption. And I'm like, come on. Like, no, just make him I don't mind him having convictions to want to do things, but don't at the very last second be like, I want to do the right thing, but now I can't. Like, they really should have had convictions with him, like, to the end, in my opinion.
That, by the way, that link is the link I sent you of David Ajar. Is that his surname? Ajar?
Yep.
The guy who plays Book?
Yep.
He's an Arsenal fan like me, by the way, Daniel once. And I got really pissed off with his, like, just to go on a tangent here. Arsenal played Liverpool yesterday and we lost 2-0 to Liverpool. Fucking Scouse cunts. Really pisses me off. Nevertheless, David then gave his interview because he happened to be in London and he was on Arsenal Fan TV and he did an interview with them. And I got really pissed off with his interview. But nevertheless, that's him there in London being himself. And he's not as tall as he looks like he is on TV. But okay. Where were we? So yeah, they're all on holiday. And Saru hooks up with the Vulcan lady. Reese and the other, Reese and the other dude look like they're going to try and get it on with Blondie, and I think they're going to get Bryce in there as well. So, we'll see how that pans. Yeah, she's gonna get Bukaki'd for sure. And Detmer, I didn't really see what happened with them. We saw Kolber and Stamets going away somewhere as well. I think was it the Ryza they were going to.
I don't know if it was Ryza. It might have been somewhere on Earth. I thought they were all going to Earth. I thought, but I didn't hear where they were going.
Yeah, they're all taking some much needed leave. So season 5, in my opinion, is we're going to see more of this species 10C. I think we're going to see them in human form so they can communicate with us.
I hope
Because
not.
that's what I guarantee it. I'm willing to bet both my bollocks.
I mean, either that or maybe they'll develop like holographic technology that projects them as humans, and then they can talk and communicate.
Yeah, well, that's still the same fucking thing, man.
I understand,
you know?
but I mean, it's not like they're going to be like physical people that just like like Ego, the Living Planet from Guardians 2. That pissed me off when Ego was just Russell Crowe or not Russell Crowe. Who was he? Kurt Russell. You know, but then he was also a planet.
Yeah, I agree. I understand. But Daniel Barnes is taking my bet. In some capacity, they're going to be in human form, basically. Daniel,
take that bet and raise 10.
God, that shit really pisses me off. It's called string betting. You can't do that in poker, but nevertheless, everyone's on holiday now, and so is Discovery, which is nice to know. Been an okay season, started off really strongly, but I think it tail ended a little bit. Like, like the DMA and everything, it got really interesting. It really did, but then it just kind of its way to the finishing line, as far as I was concerned.
I really enjoyed this episode. I don't know. I mean,
I don't mind this episode. I don't mind this episode, but it's hard to say how I feel about this season. Like I did enjoy the beginning of the season was fantastic. It made me proud to be a Star Trek fan. It really did. I remember the early episodes of like all these new cadets and stuff like that, and like Starfleet now getting its shit together in the future because they got dilithium and stuff like that. Everything's going to be all right, but then the DMA comes in and fucks things up. It was very good at the beginning. It really was, and seeing some of these diplomacy angles and diplomacy episodes and talking to other cultures regarding the DMA and all of that. But then when it came to maybe the final hurdle, it's really hard to say how I felt about it. I don't know. It's really hard to say. The whole season was like watching molasses pour in winter. Is he doing that thing from that dude from TNG?
Huh? No, it's molasses. It pours very slowly. It's like
what the fuck is molasses? I need to Google this shit.
It looks like glue, but it's very like.
It's an American thing, isn't it?
Probably
must be.
If you don't know what molasses is, then anyway, Zam, what'd you give this episode?
6 out of 10.
Oh man, I gave it an 8 out of 10. Sorry, bud.
Oh, molasses. Yeah, I've seen this shit. I see some people like put it in their food.
Yeah,
when they're cooking stuff.
So, okay. I don't know. I'm excited.
It's thicker than maple syrup, but it's thicker than me, probably.
I don't know. I am still, as I said, I was kind of interested in the angle that they were kind of going, where it was like, they could have gotten stuck out in the outskirts of the galaxy and had to work their way back in. I didn't want like the rest of the show, like Voyager, to be on the way home, but I wouldn't have minded a little bit of them being stuck somewhere and them having to kind of make their way back, or at least until they get the spore drive fixed because they said they couldn't fix the spore drive without a starport. They didn't say that it would be completely destroyed. So, I mean, eventually they could find a starport or something like that. And, but I kind of
more like it,
that.
Daniel.
But I'm also, my original intention for season 5 is always going to be like, I want them to go and explore like areas that we have seen but have not seen in this era, like the Ferengi Alliance. And as I said, we don't know if they're in the Federation or even a part of it. The Klingons, what are they doing? The Klingons, the Ferengi, the Cardassian. I mean, we kind of know the Cardassians are around because the president's half Cardassian.
I still want to see more from, like, say, I know we've seen them, but I want to see more from the Romulans. They've really been a shadow of themselves. I think being around the Vulcans in a way have made them kind of passive. But I want to see more. I want to see more from them. There's a whole bunch of species we could see more of. Yeah, I would like you said, like the Ferengi. We saw a Ferengi bartender today. Was that a nod to Quark? With that fire drinks and stuff like that. Who knows? But there was a Ferengi captain in the trailers. We hardly saw we hardly saw that fucker. I was
that's what
expecting
I'm
to see
saying.
more
Like,
of him.
we don't know if the Ferengi Alliance is a part of the Federation or if it's like or if it's like they're just like Worf, like join Federation, even though they're not a part of the Federation. I just kind of want to see what. I mean, honestly, you can even see other races on the outskirts of the galaxy.
We are going to get a season 5, though, aren't we?
Huh?
Has it been? I think it's been confirmed season 5.
Yeah, I think they've already confirmed season 5. I think they confirmed it early in the season too.
And when are you going to start filming that? This year?
Yeah, probably.
Jesus Christ, Juicy.
Probably. I think it's. When did they film? I think they started filming Discovery around spring or summer last year, so I'm assuming it would be around the same time this year.
Yeah, fair enough. And they already confirmed season 2 of Strange New Worlds, even though it hasn't
even debuted yet. So I'm really excited for that. I mean, it doesn't mean it's going to be good, but I have high hopes. I'm trying very hard to have high hopes for this series. I'm not an episodic type person. I like the overarching narratives, but at the same time, Trek does need that episodic formula in some of its shows.
I'm a bit concerned after seeing the trailers for Strange New Worlds. I'm not so sure it's going to be, as episodic as we hope it would be. I still think it's going to have a sense of serialization in it. Maybe a bit more like Lower Decks, not in the sense of it being comical, but I do feel there's going to be an overarching narrative. But at the same time, like the last 2 seasons, to a degree of Discovery, have been episodic in places, and that's the sort of balance they need to get. If because it really, however it's going to be us watching him get in that fucking chair and Kirk taking over at some point.
And you also saw that they also confirmed that Captain Kirk is coming in season 2, right?
And people lost their shit when they mentioned the fact that this is the 3rd actor to play Kirk, even though it's not the 3rd actor to play Kirk. There's been, for instance, you have young Kirk in Star Trek Kelvin, the first one.
You mean Pine?
No, not Pine. The kid who plays young Pine. Yeah, and I think there was
They're talking about Captain Kirk.
There's also and somebody then threw in the picture of the baby that was born on the spaceship in the beginning of the episode after Hemsworth died. And I think somebody else has played Kirk as well. I forget. I think maybe in the original series or something like that.
No, it was been William Shatner, Chris Pine, and now this guy.
I'm sure Daniel Vance knows something. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm sure he can give us some information.
I mean, even the voice actor for the animated series of Star Trek, the animated series, was William Shatner.
It was all of them. Yeah, I mean, so
actually, it wasn't all of them. I think Doohan, Nimoy, Kelly. I don't know if Takai was actually the voice. I don't think they had Sulu in the animated series. I have to go back and look. And Chekhov, I'm pretty sure, was definitely not in it. And Uhura might, Michelle Mickles may or may not have been in it. I don't remember. There was a whole thing on Trek Culture about it. So I don't know. I might be remembering wrong. Who knows? Anyway, you want to wrap it in?
George Takai was there.
He was? Okay.
But I can't see Sulu. Sorry, there's not Sulu. Chekhov.
Walter Koenig. Was Michelle Mickles on there?
Yeah, she's there.
Okay.
So.
You know what? I think it was Leonard Nimoy. Basically said he wouldn't sign on if they weren't.
Leonard Nimoy's there. Yeah. Who? Leonard Nimoy's there.
Yeah, Leonard Nimoy was there. I know DeForest Kelly, Leonard Nimoy, Doohan.
Mark Leonard, who played Sarek's, there as well. Roger C. Cameron, who played the original Harry Mudd's there. So yeah, interesting. All right, yeah, we'll sign off now, fellas. All right, so we still got more Picard to come in future reviews. Tomorrow, by the way, we are doing a Scott Hall special. Scott Hall, also known as Razor Ramon, also known as the Diamond Stud. That's when I first saw him, showing my age here. He passed away just a few days ago. Of initially, he was having hip surgery, but he fell over and had to have hip surgery. And then, whilst having his surgery, he ended up having 3 heart attacks, which is unbelievable, unheard of. But he ended up being on life support, and he was never going to pull through. His family turned off the machines, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us anymore. We're going to be talking about the good, the bad guy, and the ugly of Scott Hall. You know, he's done some good things, but he's done some terrible things. And we're going to be bringing all of these things up tomorrow with our Wrestleheads as well. This will be 7 o'clock UK time on Friday. So please join us.
3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, so please join us for that. It's going to be good fun. We also then have, I think this weekend, we're doing the Final Fantasy stuff.
Yeah, I got sick of Boss Man and Block talking their trash about, talking their trash about how Final Fantasy 6 is better. Well, it started off with Block and talking Final Fantasy 6 was better than 9. And then Boss Man started putting in his 2 cents about, well, he thought that 7 was better. So we decided we're just going to do an ultimate debate on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to talk Final Fantasy 6 versus Final Fantasy 7 versus Final Fantasy 9. We don't do a lot of Final Fantasy stuff on this channel, but I'm trying to kind of expand a little bit. I want to get some more Final Fantasy content out there. So we're talking with some people, trying to get some feelers out there and get some, things rolling through. So you might start to see some new faces around here, because as we nerds are, when you dabble in one thing, you normally dabble in a couple other things in nerddom. And we have a very broad spectrum here of nerd stuff: Star Wars, Star Trek, DC, Marvel, gaming,
martial art movies. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that. Gung Fu, Gung Kata, like fucking John Wick and shit like that.
I mean, we're all over the place.
If it's really popular, we're all over it. I recently did a review of the Boys Diabolical. I really recommend you watch that, Bobby Black. You'll fucking either love it or hate it. But 15 minutes an episode, not even that. When you take out the fucking intro trailer and the outro trailer, it's less than that. And I fucking loved it. But we do reviews of all manners of things, and yeah, keep an eye out for that as well in the future when it comes to the Marvel content. We'll be talking Moon Knight very shortly as well, and then Obi-Wan, then Ms. Marvel. A lot of people have their issues with that. It's amazing how many people can get triggered by a Pakistani girl being a superhero. I mean, it's the most triggering thing for some people, but.
And it's not even like, oh, she's not Pakistani in the comic. She's freaking Pakistani in the comic books too. I don't understand how you have a leg to stand on with that. Like,
no, but the point is, for some people, it's like, oh my God, how dare you have diversity? Like, I hate the word even. Like, these are just other human beings that exist on this fucking planet. You know what I mean?
Oh,
rest in peace, John Hurt.
Yeah, John
Hurt's dead. Too. When did that happen? Today?
Oh no, that happened like earlier this week. You didn't hear that?
Oh damn! With all the other people, all the other deaths, it must have.
It's not John Hurt. It's William Hurt. But
William Hurt. Oh yeah, that one I know. That one I know, man.
Wait, who's John Hurt? Like, did
John Hurt? He was the guy who had the alien come out of his body in the first Alien movie.
Oh, I didn't know that. Apparently, well, he died in. John Hurt apparently died on January 25th, 2017.
Yeah, he died. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, he did die a while back.
But no, William Hurt. Yeah, Thaddeus Ross, and I mean, that was very sad.
John Hurt did die a while back. He was in Hellboy as well.
He was in a few things. Lost in Space. I loved him in Lost in Space.
That's William Hurt. William Hurt was in Lost in Space.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about John Hurt. Okay.
Yeah. So you're getting us all confused now. Daniel Vance, no problem. Yeah, it's a shame. No more Thunderbolt Ross. Absolutely fantastic in that role. And like just seeing
I
him
could
at the
tell
end.
though, watching Black Widow, I could tell he wasn't well. I mean, he had a cane for criminy sake. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, he obviously didn't have that when he was in Civil War. So I thought it was odd, but I was like, whatever, I don't care.
I just marked out watching him in the after credit scenes of the Hulk movie,
Yeah,
and he's like drinking his shots, going reload, 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 and then fucking Tony Stark pays him a visit. I'm thinking, holy shit, it's happening. It really is happening,
that's
And
Baby
like,
Zam. Baby Zam was thinking that.
yeah, it was like amazing. It's unfortunate though, in a way, that we never got more Hulk and Thunderbolt Ross interactions. Even though Thunderbolt Ross was about 5 or 6 movies overall, not really. Him and Hulk did nothing. I mean, they were at fucking Tony Stark's funeral. You would have thought they would have got said something to each other on that particular occasion, but no. They, the director made sure that them two were fucking miles apart from each other. Yeah, he looked so gaunt in Black Widow. I just thought that was a de-aging technology, personally. But okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's a shame. I'm sure he won't be recasted, and all the theories regarding Red Hulk is now out the window.
I don't think
71
so.
is a very young age, by the way. Very young.
I think there's a good.
World.
I still think there's a good way that they can recast and keep it like within the canon. But
well
I'm not going to get into that right now.
Well, one of the best things they've done now is like by showing that you can have different Spider-Mans in Spider-Man No Way Home who are different actors. And they'll probably, if the rumor is true, we'll see a Tom Cruise version of Iron Man in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And this does open up the door in having multiverse people who look different to the original verse. So
as long as I get Haley Atwell's Captain Carter, I want it. I want it. I want it injected in my veins.
I would love that too. Yeah, they have opened up the multiverse now, mate. Yeah, man, we're going all over the fucking place, aren't we? Regarding this, but yeah, it's good. It's good to talk about, and we have more. Like I said, we've got lots to talk about in the upcoming days and the upcoming weeks. Keep an eye out for that. Don't forget, I have my Monday Peaky Blinders review. If you're into Peaky Blinders, please watch that. It's such a good show. It's the best period gangster drama you'll ever see. I thoroughly enjoy it. If you like, and by the way, as somebody who loves gangster shit, I can't get enough of it. It's just a shame that show's ending soon as well. You're watching Space Force, aren't you? Oh, you finished watching that?
That was one and done. That's already done.
I thought both seasons.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
I already saw season 1, but I did a review on season 2 when I finished it. It was only 7 episodes long, and I mean, they really, really like cut back on it this season. But I have a review on the channel for Space Force, but it all dropped at one time. I binged it, and it was only 7 episodes.
And by the way, we still
no, I'm not doing it, Zam.
We still need to do a review of Guardians of Justice. Now, myself and Cheeto have both seen that. Watch Severance. Okay, I'll promise you, I will watch Severance. But it might just be me doing a review of it. But there's a show called Guardians of Justice.
I'm not doing a review of Guardians of Justice.
And it's on Netflix, and it's got Diamond Dallas Page and John Morrison, and it's a bit like Watchmen on acid. That's the only way I can describe it. Watchmen with a Justice League vibe on acid. It's absolutely fucking bizarre. But yeah. All right. We're gonna wrap this up now. We've been on for an hour and a half, man. That's a long time. So, like I said, catch us tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK time, 3 p.m. Eastern, for the Scott Hall Remembrance, and you'll be seeing myself. I'm not sure if you'll be seeing Cheeto, but you'll definitely see me, as well as other wrestleheads, talking about this man and everything to do with him, from the clique to fucking NWO and everything else in between. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. We'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye bye. Live long and prosper, and may the force be with you.